Hi you guys, it is 111 right now. That is so perfect. I am currently in Washington and I'm at my favorite park that I used to come to all the time. I don't know if this air is loud. It's so cold here, you guys. It's actually fall weather. It's cold, it's chilly. I have the seat warmer on, and it feels really good. But yeah, I am just parked at my favorite park right now that I used to come to all the time before I moved to Los Angeles, and I moved to LA in 2021. So a little over 3 years ago, I moved out there, and before I moved out there, it was just like so my dream to live in LA, and it really was like my main focus. And I just like was really unhappy with my circumstances in Washington. I was like basically in this like really on and off, back and forth, very toxic, very abusive, like damaging relationship for a really long time, for like multiple years, from probably like 19 until like 23, like, or maybe 22, but like I moved to LA when I was 23, and I was still talking to that person when I moved to LA, and still definitely wasn't completely over it, but I was trying to create more space between me and that person the months leading up to moving, and I was just really trying to change my life, and I just had felt really stuck for a really long time and felt like I was just stuck in these patterns. And of course during that time, that was like probably the biggest period of growth I've ever experienced in my life, and I don't know if anything will be able to compare to that, because it was just so instrumental into making me who I am today. And I feel like it just was at such a pivotal time in my life and really just shaped my path and the direction that I chose to live my life, because I could have stayed in that relationship, I could have stayed in that cycle, and although it took me a really long time to get out of it, I spent so many nights going within and so many nights just leaning into healing and learning more about myself and learning more about spirituality and just different practices. And I got into yoga and I got into journaling, and journaling has like literally saved my life. And I learned just, I feel like, so many truths about myself and about my true nature and how I'm whole on my own, and just went through this whole transformation journey. And of course it wasn't always entirely linear, and it was also really ugly a lot of the time. Like I'm telling you, this relationship was so ugly and brought out the worst in me, and thank God I have the most amazing friends that stuck by my side, even though they had every reason not to do that, because I just ended up putting them in terrible situations too, and exposed them to having to deal with people that just sucked. But all of that to be said, that like the years leading up to moving, you know, were just crazy. And then the pandemic happening too, that really helped to create space between me and that person. And I really was able to like kind of just go within during that time and just really sit with myself and discover what I liked and what I didn't like, and learn so much about myself, and just listened to so much new music and watched like new animes, and really got into like working out and meditating, and just really got in good routines. And I was really just like working multiple jobs to save money to be able to move out to LA. And I was able to do it, but during that time, you know, it just was this whole internal journey. And I often would come to this park like pretty much every single day after work. I got in this habit, and I also got kicked out of my dad's house. Like I moved to my mom's house. I was a little bit closer to this park, and there was just like, life was crazy. Okay. Looking back, I'm like, I'm just so grateful for myself and for my past self, for really just leaning into healing and doing what I needed to do to cope, which often looked like buying plants. I bought a lot of plants, and all of the plants that I have at my house currently are plants that like I bought when I was just like so going through it that I didn't know what to do with myself. So I'm really glad I picked up that healthy coping mechanism. And then just journaling a lot. And then I would always just come to this park, and especially at nighttime, it's this huge park. It has this really huge field. I will show you guys. I'll go down there and get some clips, because I love to come here every time I visit, because it just feels so significant to me, because I would come here so often just to like unwind from the day and just to cope and to sit and like lay with the trees. And I just felt so loved and so protected and so watched after by all these trees. It's also like, it reminds me of like the Twilight baseball scene, where it's just like one big open field just surrounded by trees, if I'm remembering that correctly. There's all these tall, beautiful trees that I would just talk to and cry to, and like I just remember feeling like I didn't have that many friends before I moved to LA, or I was kind of isolated from my own doing, and my friends lived in Seattle and I lived a little bit further, and I just was really focused on just like healing and saving money. And I just would come here and bring a blanket and bring my journal and bring some books. Sometimes I would smoke weed, and I would just journal my heart out. All of the things that I was just like upset about, all the things I was sad about, all of the ways that I felt stuck, and just try to get to the bottom of it all and just try to sit with it all. And I would also just come here and I would daydream about what I wanted my life to look like. And I would write down and affirm what I wanted my life to look like, and how I was going to meet all of these people that were going to love me and see me and appreciate me, and how I was going to be able to go on trips and live this life of luxury and just feel free and happy. And I was going to live in LA, and that I was going to be able to pursue all these things I'm interested in and have all of these opportunities come to me, and just how my life was going to be completely different how it looked right now. And I just really held on to that hope and had this strong vision. And obviously I was manifesting, but it really felt like it wasn't even like I was trying to consciously manifest certain things. It was really like I was just trying to escape my current reality. And I am a Pisces. I have a Pisces stellium. I have many Pisces placements, so I very much do that. I've done that since I was little, before I knew what manifesting was, just laying in bed at nighttime, especially before I would go to sleep, and I would just visualize like my most ideal situation, whether that was like a boy that I liked texting me or asking me out, or hanging out with my friends and having fun, or looking really cute and just feeling really good, or whatever it was, you know, my little like child teenage mind at the time. I would just do a lot of daydreaming and a lot of visualizing. And so I've always been really good about being able to get myself into that headspace and letting myself just like explore without limits and think about what I really want without limits, and allowing my body to feel the sensations of it happening and just to get really excited about it. So I would just come here so often, just when I was like coping, like really going through it. There were times where I felt like I made a lot of progress, like putting space between me and my ex and that unhealthy relationship. And then I would like relapse basically and like go back, and it just would feel so bad, and I just felt so stuck. I remember there was one time that I came here and I was just wandering through the forest. Like I literally just did not even know what to do with myself, and thank God I was doing that and I wasn't doing drugs, or I wasn't, you know, like doing things that could have been like a lot more damaging for sure. But I would just like walk around this forest aimlessly, like begging and pleading to the universe to like give me some clarity and some strength and just like assistance and guidance. And I remember looking at this tree and it said E plus J. My name is Emily, so I was like, okay, who's my J? Like, I wonder who my J is. And I left, and then on my way home that night, I ended up driving past this guy that was outside, this houseless guy, and I ended up talking to him, and his name was Jesse, and we just really hit it off, and he was like outside, pretty close to my house, and yeah, he was just really funny. And I ended up asking him like, what would help you most right now? Like food or blankets or money, or just how can I help you? And so he ended up saying that blankets would be really helpful. So I went back to my dad's house and I took a bunch of these blankets and I put them in the dryer to try to heat them up as much as I could because it was cold, brought them back to him, and he was just so grateful. And it felt so good to just do something outside of myself. And I'm not saying this to get any kind of weird satisfaction, validation from anybody, but just truly, I really think that when you're struggling, you can be so consumed in your own problems, and like you can have such like a limited worldview because you're just preoccupied with what's going wrong in your life. And it actually feels so good to be able to do something of service and to be able to look outside of yourself and just get out of your own head and your own issues. And I ended up going back and seeing him a couple of times after that, and that felt so nice. And just like, I don't know, it was really what I needed that day, because I just felt like I was just taking a million steps back and just like fucking up. And that kind of was just like a little glimmer of like, I don't know, something outside of myself that was just really helpful in that moment. And that happened from being at this park. And you guys, I could insert pictures of me just sitting on this field. Like, I'm telling you, I know this sounds crazy that I'm just talking so much about this park, but this park helped me. This park was like my best friend. And I've just spent so much time here and just so many nights here, just like praying and praying and praying and hoping that my life would change. And then it did, and it really, really did. And eventually, you know, after working 2 jobs and saving a lot of money, and really the months leading up to moving to LA too, I was reading Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I was just so like locked in, to be honest. I was so locked in, just going from one job to the next job, to the gym, and eating healthy and journaling, and just being so excited about this book and so excited to read about the pineal gland and like doing these meditations. And that was like when I first learned about this one meditation method where you write down like your what you're trying to manifest on one side, and then on the other side you write down the feelings that you're going to feel when it manifests, which I am going to make a video on because I've done that meditation for multiple things in my life, including the house that I moved into when I first moved to LA, and I got everything that I wanted out of that house from that meditation. But I just was learning so much at that time, and it was just such a pivotal time in my life and just such a wholesome time in my life. And I just felt, you know, really, just very hopeful of this new life that I was going to live, and everything just felt so exciting, and it really came true. Like, it really just required like an equal amount of like action with intention, which was like me working those 2 jobs and saving money. And then on the other hand, it really took me like getting my frequency right and just really working on myself, and then also just praying and just trusting and manifesting and doing like more of the energetic side to manifesting, and just putting my intentions out there and just trusting the universe. And I felt so connected to my angels at that time because I was just getting so much confirmation that I was heard and that I was received. So even in moments where I felt really alone and I felt like, okay, what is going on, universe? Like, this is not what I want, or like, I'm not getting what I want. When am I going to get it? I knew I wasn't alone because I would just have these crazy synchronistic situations happen where it was just blatant confirmation that I was heard in that moment, that I wasn't alone, that I had so much support around me. So I was just so trusting, and I just was talking to my angels all the time, which, yes, again, to some people probably sounds crazy, but there really is so much like unseen support that we have. And if you haven't experienced that, I hope that you open yourself up to it because it's beautiful. But I don't know, I feel like we've all experienced, you know, kind of like mystical situations before, but it really was just a mix, I feel like, of that like unseen support and just the energetics behind it. And then obviously doing the things like saving money and working and like looking for apartments and like that real life stuff that obviously is like equally as important too, right? So I was just doing a lot of both of those things, and I just decided like, okay, this week I'm gonna go and fly to LA and apartment hunt. And I have a whole video on how I moved to LA, and it was a whole journey, way different than how I thought it was going to go, but it was so divine and so perfect in the end and worked out exactly how it was supposed to. And when I tell you, my life changed more than I could even imagine within the first like 3 weeks of being in LA. I just like, and it was things that I didn't even consciously manifest, but just from me daydreaming about just like hanging out with people that understood me. And I was like so into psychedelics at the time and just so on this like particular vibe. And I was just so positive, and like I just loved wearing all the colors, and like I loved everything bright and happy. And like I met this group of people in the most like random synchronistic way that just felt like fate, for my friend Jackson, who I love so much. And it just like my life truly changed, and I met all these people that became so significant to my life at that point. I met my ex-boyfriend, who was such, you know, a big part of my life when I first moved to LA, and you know, that relationship ended really traumatically, I'm not going to lie, but at the time was so healing for me because it was my first like healthy relationship, at the beginning at least, that like I had experienced, because you know, my relationship prior to that was just so atrocious and awful and just damaging and like evil, literally evil to me. And I met all these people that were on the same vibe as me, that love psychedelics, and like I got to go on these amazing trips and just experience so much luxury. And obviously my life has changed a lot since then. And I don't even see a lot of those people, but I've also met so many people after. It's like everything just happens in different like phases and eras. And it's so interesting because what I wanted changed too. And, you know, certain things have happened like differently than I was expecting, but I feel like it's all just been perfect, and I've met like all of the right people at the right time to just fit me and where I'm at in life. And even though like there's been a lot of trials and tribulations along this journey, and moving to LA obviously didn't fix everything, and it just sounds silly just talking about moving so much, but that just was such like a pivotal thing for me too. And yeah, it's been really hard. There's been a lot of like deep healing and like lessons that I've had to learn along the way, but I'm just in such a different place than before I moved there. And just from when I would come to this park all the time and just would sit with myself, and I've experienced so much. I've been gifted with so many opportunities. I've met so many people. I've made so many friends, and just like experienced so many moments of just beauty. And I've gotten to live in 2 different houses. And like within the first 3 weeks, I met like a stylist, and that's really what I wanted to do when I first moved to LA, is I wanted to do styling. I got introduced to this incredible stylist, Lori, who I adore and I love and I'm so grateful for. And I got to do jobs for her. And then, you know, like I said, over time, like as I learned more about myself and experienced these things, what I wanted changed too. So I realized, okay, maybe styling isn't for me. I love doing those jobs here and there, but like, you know, long term as my career, I don't think that's my path. But just being able to experience it and experience the things that I told people I was going to do, like me telling people all these outlandish things that I was going to do when I got to LA, and then going to LA and actually doing them was so cool. And of course, there's like a lot of things that I wanted to do and still want to do that I haven't accomplished yet. And it's so interesting just like growing and changing and learning, and just thinking about like what still resonates and what I really want to do. Things that I used to be my dream, that I'm like, I don't know if that's what I want anymore, or things that still are my dream that I just like have been scared to do, like modeling. I've always wanted to model, and you know, I've sent in pictures before and just never heard back, and I'm very like uncomfortable in front of the camera, but it is something that I've always wanted to do in this lifetime. And so there's still work to be done there. Like there's still more for me to accomplish, and not that it has to be done while living there, but there is obviously a lot more to experience on the journey. And now like what I'm focused on experiencing is so different. Like it just happens as you grow. We're constantly like learning more things that we want every single day, and more things that we don't want. Like it just becomes so clear to us as we experience more life. And so I'm really like, I've been manifesting a specific vision of what I want my current updated dream life to look like right now, and where I want to live, and what I want my house to look like, and my relationships to look like, and my friendships, and how I want my life to feel is so different than what I wanted years ago. And I think that's so beautiful. And it's just a constant life journey. Like we're always going to constantly want things. And I think it's so important to consciously take the time to appreciate exactly where you are while you're there, and to recognize like, oh my gosh, I'm in my manifestation. Like I accomplished this, and to feel so like grateful and proud of yourself, and to really be able to revel in it and enjoy it. Because I feel like as human beings, we're constantly yearning, we're constantly wanting more, and we get something, and then but we're on to the next thing. We don't even actually get to really appreciate it and enjoy it. And I know that's been a major thing for me, because I thought once I got to LA, I'd just be so happy and so accomplished. And I was for a time being. And then I was like, oh, but I want this, and I want to do more, and this and that. But I really think it's a combination of allowing yourself to go for more, but still to just really make sure that you are consciously like pausing and enjoying where you're at, because otherwise you're never going to be satisfied. And it's a lifelong journey of this, guys. I feel like we're still going to be, you know, learning and wanting things all the way up until we die. And that's just being human. And we're so allowed to do that. And of course we're supposed to do that, but I really do think it is important to just slow down and to enjoy the journey. And yeah, like really enjoy the journey. When I think about before I moved, it was like all of that working out and just reading and locking in and spending time with myself, like, and just being aware that you're in the journey in that moment, and just being able to appreciate it and know that like everything's going to come to fruition soon, and just to feel that excitement and just to be present throughout the entire experience and the entire journey is so special. So special. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to make this video because I just feel like I'm in such a different place than when I first started. And I would just say, you know, this doesn't have to be about moving. I know I talked a lot about moving, but for you, whatever it is that you feel an inclination to do, and if it is moving to a different state, I say absolutely go for it. If you feel like you have an internal push to move to a certain place or to do a certain thing, you have to follow that. And I just feel like once you take the step to do that, you will be so supported by the universe or whatever it is that you believe in, But I really, really do think that things unseen conspire to help you on your journey and help you on your path. And there's so much more to this reality than we can see with the naked eye and maybe what we were taught growing up. And there's just so much mysticism and magic available to everybody at all times. And anything that I've experienced, you can experience. We are exactly the same. And I just say, like, you just gotta do it. You just gotta go for it. And it really all will work out. There were so many unknowns that I had. As far as moving and not knowing anybody. And of course it was just like a journey. At first it was a little bit lonely and, you know, I had to meet people, but then I came into meeting all of these people and my life changed literally overnight in the most incredible way at the time. And like, I just felt so happy and just so in alignment with the people that I met and the things that were going on in my life, and that has continued in my journey. And the more people that have come into my life when I'm in certain like eras, it's just all alignment, and it's so beautiful. It's just such a beautiful journey of life, but you really have to just like take that step and take that risk and listen to how you feel and what feels right to you and what you're being pushed to do, and just not be scared and to go for it. And if you feel like you're stuck right now in a relationship and a bad habit and an addiction, I just believe in you so much, and I know that you can get through it. And I know how just discouraging it can feel when it's like you're trying to make those changes and it's just so hard. I would just say give yourself grace and just keep going. Little like baby steps. I'm telling you, it took me so long to get out of that relationship and get to a place where I felt free. Baby steps. Do what you can and just hold a vision that you can and will get through it. And I really, really believe that you can. I really believe that you can change your life and that it can look entirely different months from now, weeks from now, that you can quantum leap. I have personally experienced quantum leaping in my reality, things being a certain way one day and then me making a different choice and then just being blessed and rewarded for taking a different path, or just manifesting something for months, and then having it come to fruition all of a sudden. And then you're in it and you're experiencing it and it's real. Like it's possible. You just have to keep going. You just have to hold that like vision of faith and just tend to yourself, spend time with yourself. I was so lonely for those months leading up to it, and I just felt so sad, and I just kept going, and I just kept doing what I could to cope and to journal and to connect with myself and to heal. And then things switched. Like things always change, you know, things always change. So whatever you're experiencing right now, it's temporary, and just enjoy it and make the most of where you're at right now, because soon enough it's going to be different. And yeah, I don't know. It's just always such a trip to come back here, because it's just like my life has changed so much, and it just makes me really reflect on the whole journey and just feel so much love and gratitude, even though a lot of it was really hard and painful. And like, I don't understand still why certain things had to happen or be as bad as they were. Some things like I literally will just never fully understand, but I still am able to find gratitude for the whole journey and just find a lot of gratitude. And it's just really crazy to reflect on the whole thing. So life is crazy. Life is really, really crazy. And it just makes me excited to think about what's to come, and like all of the life that I have yet to experience, all the people that I have yet to meet, and all of like the trips I'm going to go on, and just like magic I'm going to feel, and love I'm going to feel, and like deep conversations and connections I'm going to have, and just like how much growth I'm going to experience within myself. And I'm really tired of this like continual like learning lessons growth thing. Like I really feel like I've made like like I'm happy with where I'm at, and obviously it's a constant journey of like trying to do better and be better, but I don't want to be stuck in this healing trap, and I don't want to feel like I'm not good enough where I am right now. Like I really am happy and satisfied with where I am right now. But just, you know, inevitably all of the growth and all the things that I'm going to learn over time, and all the things I'm going to experience, and just like the fact that I want to be a mom so bad one day, and like literally probably like as soon as possible once I have money and a stable relationship, and just thinking about how I'm going to have my own little babies, and just how different life will be, and just how things are constantly changing. It's just a really crazy realization. And I just feel really grateful to be where I am right now, even though it's been tough. I'm so just happy at the same time, and I'm just so grateful to be alive. And it's just so fun to be alive and to experience all the things and all of our loved ones, and just experience this whole journey. So I'm just totally soaking it up, and I hope that you guys are too. And I hope you guys can do the things that make you happy, and just go after your dreams, and just realize that you're never stuck, and yeah, find reasons to be grateful. And I just wanted to give a shout out to my friend Jackson, because he really was the one that really changed my life when I moved to LA, and unfortunately he passed away. But my life would not be the same without him, and I would have never met the people that I met when I first moved to LA, and I never would have met my best friend Nazra and my best friend Alyssa, and so many magical people that I got to experience. I'm just so grateful for Jackson, and I'm just so grateful for all of the angels that have been placed on my path, and just how blessed that I've been to experience what I have in my own unique life. And same for you guys, like every experience, all of your lore is all so special and unique to you and so perfect for you. And I just feel like, yeah, I just am so grateful for my life and so grateful to see what's to come. But anyways, you guys, I think I'm gonna cut this here. Yeah, this was just like a pretty stream of consciousness video. I just kind of wanted to try to articulate some of the things that I feel when I come here, and hope that you guys can relate in your own ways. And I'm just so excited to see what's to come for all of us, and I believe in all of us, and I just believe in so much magic in the universe, and just that we're so loved and that we're so supported. And yeah, I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in a video soon. Okay, bye! All of these beautiful trees. And there's little paths you can go in there. That's where I saw the E+J tree. There used to be a picnic table over there that I would sit at. I would just bring a blanket. This place is so special to me. So if I've ever brought you here, you're very special.